You crush a brutal leg workout. Your quads are screaming. You can barely walk. And then you think, I'll hit legs again in 2 days because muscle recovery takes 48 hours, right? Wrong. What if I told you that your muscles are still growing 48 hours after you train them? That the magic happening inside your muscle cells doesn't stop after 1 day or even 2. That understanding this 48-hour window is the key to unlocking faster gains than you've ever experienced. Today, we're diving deep into muscle protein synthesis, what it is, how long it actually lasts, and how to use this knowledge to build muscle faster than ever before. What is muscle protein synthesis? Let's start with the basics. Muscle protein synthesis, or MPS, is the process your body uses to repair and build muscle tissue. When you lift weights, you create micro tears in your muscle fibers. Your body sees this as damage that needs repair, so it activates MPS. Basically, your body starts manufacturing new muscle proteins to repair those tears and make the muscle bigger and stronger. Think of it like construction. You train, you damage the building. MPS is your body sending in the construction crew with materials to rebuild it bigger and better. This process requires 3 things: the signal to build from training, the building blocks, amino acids from protein, and time. And that time, that's where the 48-hour window comes in. The 48-hour truth. Here's what most people don't know. After an intense workout, muscle protein synthesis stays elevated for up to 48 hours, not 30 minutes, not a few hours, 2 full days. Research shows that after resistance training, MPS spikes immediately and remains elevated significantly above baseline for 24 to 48 hours, depending on training intensity, your training experience, and the muscle group trained. For beginners, MPS can stay elevated even longer, up to 72 hours after training. For advanced lifters, it might be closer to 24 to 36 hours. But the 48-hour mark is the general sweet spot. This means your muscles are actively growing and rebuilding for 2 full days after you train them. They're in construction mode. They're sensitive to nutrients. They're responding to the training stimulus. Why this changes everything. Understanding the 48-hour window completely changes how you should think about training and nutrition. Training frequency. If MPS lasts 48 hours, you don't want to wait a full week to train that muscle again. That would mean 5 days where MPS is back to baseline, 5 days where you're not maximizing growth. This is why training each muscle group twice per week works so well. You get 2 48-hour MPS windows instead of 1. More time in the growth zone equals more total muscle built. Protein timing. For 48 hours after training, your muscles are like sponges soaking up nutrients. They're primed to use protein efficiently. This means protein intake matters most during this window. You don't need to obsess about the immediate post-workout shake, but you do need to keep protein intake high for the next 2 days. Consistent protein every few hours during this window maximizes the MPS response. Recovery. Understanding. Just because you're not sore doesn't mean MPS has stopped. You might feel fine the next day, but your muscles are still actively rebuilding. This is why nutrition and sleep matter just as much on rest days as training days. The MPS curve. Here's how MPS actually progresses after training. Hour 0 to 4. MPS spikes dramatically. This is the initial response to training. Your body is in emergency repair mode. Hour 4 to 24. MPS remains highly elevated. This is prime growth time. Your muscles are maximally sensitive to protein. Hour 24 to 48. MPS is still above baseline but starting to decline. You're still building muscle, just not at the peak rate. Hour 48 plus, MPS returns to baseline. The growth window from that training session is essentially closed. This is why hitting the same muscle every 48 to 72 hours makes sense. You catch it right as the MPS window is closing and spike it back up again. How to maximize the window. Now that you know the science, here's how to actually use it. Strategy. 1. Train each muscle 2 to 3 times per week. Instead of the old school bodybuilder split where you hit chest once a week, train it every 3 to 4 days. You get multiple MPS windows instead of one. A push/pull/legs routine done twice per week. Perfect. Upper/lower 4 times per week. Even better, you're constantly keeping muscles in an elevated MPS state. Strategy 2. Prioritize protein for 48 hours post-workout. After you train, make sure you're hitting your protein targets consistently for the next 2 days. Aim for 0.7 to 1 gram per pound of body weight, spread across 4 to 5 meals. Your muscles are maximally responsive during this time. Don't waste it with inconsistent eating. Strategy 3. Sleep like your gains depend on it, because they do. Growth hormone releases during deep sleep. MPS is most active when you're recovering. If you train hard but sleep 5 hours, you're cutting your MPS window short. Aim for 7 to 9 hours every night, especially in the 48 hours after hard training. Strategy 4. Don't overtrain the same muscle. If MPS lasts 48 hours, training the same muscle again at hour 24 doesn't make sense. You'd be interrupting the recovery process. Wait at least 48 hours, ideally 72 for larger muscle groups. Beginner vs. advanced lifters. Here's something crucial. The 48-hour window varies based on training experience. Beginners. Your muscles are shocked by training. MPS can stay elevated for 72 plus hours. This is why beginners can make gains on almost any program. You could train full body 3 times per week and constantly be in an elevated MPS state. Intermediate. MPS lasts around 48 hours. You need smarter programming to keep hitting muscles before the window closes. This is where proper split routines become important. Advanced. Your muscles adapt quickly. MPS might only stay elevated 24 to 36 hours. You need higher frequency and more sophisticated programming to keep driving growth. This is why beginners grow on anything, but advanced lifters need to be strategic. The protein distribution. Key. It's not just total protein that matters, it's how you spread it across the 48-hour window. Research shows that spreading protein evenly across meals, rather than front-loading or back-loading, keeps MPS elevated more consistently. Instead of eating 100 grams at dinner and scraps the rest of the day, eat 30 to 40 grams per meal across 4 to 5 meals. Your MPS stays consistently elevated throughout the window. If you want more science-backed training strategies that actually explain how your body builds muscle instead of just regurgitating gym bro advice, smash that subscribe button right now. We're breaking down the real science every single week. Don't miss out, hit subscribe. The practical takeaway, the 48-hour window isn't just a cool science fact. It's actionable intelligence that should change how you train. Train each muscle every 48 to 72 hours, not once per week. Keep protein intake high and consistent for 2 full days after training. Prioritize sleep and recovery during this window. Don't waste 5 days per week with muscles sitting at baseline MPS. Your muscles are actively growing for 48 hours. Feed them, rest them, then train them again. This is how you maximize growth. This is how you build muscle efficiently. Drop a comment. How often are you training each muscle group right now? Once a week? Twice? 3 times? Let me know. Now go train something, then eat protein for the next 48 hours straight.